Hello there, good morning and welcome to Bowls 360. I'm your host Simon Alden. Today we'll go through the final day of the Australian Open. We'll go through the winners of all the Australian Open events and we'll look at the best of the West to see how our West Australians did in every division of the event. I did do this last night, but I stupidly forgot to turn my microphone on, so if you tuned in and heard dead air, that's that's why. So hopefully this will turn out a bit better. But look a bit hairy today. That's not a shave. Let's go through the events of the tournament and see how we went. All right. So to finish up the day on Friday, we had not that final. We had the ladies over 60s pairs. Not that one. That one. So we had Linda Warburton and Lisa Featherby featuring the final of the over 60s women's pairs. Unfortunately, they went down 9-22. Some of that game was shown on YouTube if you wanted to tune in and watch it. It was a rough start for the girls, or the ladies. 15-0 down after 7 ends, so they were a bit slow out of the blocks. As you can see, it was at 6:30 a.m, so obviously not morning starters. That's quite early. To try and get your head around getting into the bowls. I suppose after 2 weeks they'd be used to the time zone, but even so, 8:30 even over there is early. But bad luck to those, but super effort to get to the final. All right, let's go through the winners. Let's go through the winners of the events, all of the events. No, not that one. I've got to try and work out where it is. No, that one. So we'll start off with the over 60s pairs. So for the men's, the winners were Nick Dorr, Neville Brown from Victoria, and for the women's were Adele Pershouse and Tracy Foster, as we just saw, defeating our very own Mosman Park ladies, Linda and Lisa. In the juniors, the boys' winner, and these are our upcoming stars of the event, Travis Moran from Warilla, Andy Panchawat from Port Noarlunga in South Australia. In our vision impaired events, the singles went to Dallas Harding of Bargara in Queensland. In the pairs was Keith Haylett and Steve Minton, both from Queensland. And in our multi-disability event, the men's singles went to Damien Delgado. A lot of people will probably be aware of Damien. He's one of our top multi-disabilities, represents Australia at the Commonwealth Games, always does very well. And the women's singles was Serena Burnell, both from Club Tweed, and the pairs was Chris Flavel and James Reynolds. Bit of a mixed team there. In the other events, our open events, the men's singles winner was Aaron Sheriff from Broadbeach. Aaron, I think that's his 4th win in a row. That's absolutely amazing. Certainly in the record books, and stamps himself as one of the best bowlers that Australia's ever produced, obviously results wise. In the pairs were Corey Wedlock, Gary Kelly from New South Wales, and in the fours was Wallace, Morrison, Rin and Shannon from all over the place, weren't they? In the women's side, the singles was won by Dawn Heyman. Very good game to watch on the stream if you want to tune into that. The pairs was Selena Goddard, Chloe Stewart. Also another good game against the Malaysian ladies. It went to an extra end, so that was a bit exciting. And the fours was Clark, Johns, Van Ash and Kelsey Cottrell. They're just friends from the Australian team. Very strong side. They were winners of the fours. So congratulations to all the competitors competing this year, especially those that won the events. And it looked like a fairly rain-free tournament, so well done to all of those. Let's go through our Western Australians and see how they all fared this round. Let's go to my Google Sheets. So we'll start off in the multi-disability pairs. Jodie Nikolic, our competitor there, sadly didn't get out of the section. She was also in our singles event and again wasn't able to get out of her section, unfortunately. In the vision impaired singles, it was Kelvin Rogers got to the quarter final, but he went down 17-21 from the eventual winner there, Dallas Harding. And in the pairs, both Kelvin and Serge were unable to get out of their section. The over 60s women's pairs, as we've seen, Linda Warburton, Lisa Featherby made it to the final, but sadly went down. They were our best event winners there, or competitors. In the women's fours, was Lara Butler was our Western Australian there. She made the final of that event, sadly also going down there. In the women's pairs, our best team were Christina Christic, Alan Fife. They made the round of 16, went down to the Olivia Bloomfeld, Emma Boyd. And in the singles, as we scroll down, it was Lisa Featherby. She made the quarterfinals there, eventually losing to Olivia Cartwright, who was the runner-up in that event. Next up, we have a look at the mixed pairs. There are two venues for hosting this event. All of the WA teams were at Robina, and our best competitor there was the 12th place for Tamara Arnold and Callum Arnold. To the juniors, our girls were unable to get out of their section there, and neither were our two boys. Both all of them knocking out in the sectional play. To the over 60s men's pairs, we had quite a few get through to the round of 64 but going no further. Kimberly Thompson, Jeff Myers, Alec Grider, Sam Perica, Jeff Burgess, Jim Newton and Brian Whitehead all making to the round of 64 but not progressing, unfortunately. The men's fours were our Aussie Park foursome there, Jack East, Dave Downey, Blake Butler, Callum Alberti getting to the quarterfinals of that event. The men's pairs was our round of 16, Blake Butler and Callum Alberti going down to the Nelson brothers in that. And the men's singles, it was Jack East who got the furthest, got to the round of 32 there. So that brings us to an end of the Australian Open coverage. My thoughts, we'll talk about the best women and the best men that, in my view, the women, it was probably a toss-up between Lara, who made the final of fours, and Lisa, who made the final of the over 60s pairs. But getting to the round of quarterfinals for Lisa in the singles, to me, probably shades it her way to be our Western Australia player for the women's events. So well done to Lisa. And the men, it was pretty tight. The foursome from Aussie Park also featured heavily in the pairs and the singles. Jack with Callum and Blake in the pairs, and Jack skippering in that Aussie Park team. So I'll probably run with Jack as our player of the tournament there for the Western Australian men. I'm staggered why Jack's not skippering our stateside still. He's obviously in some form. He's a young guy. He's certainly on the way up, and I would have stuck with him skippering for the next 2 or 3 years just to see how he went. He did okay last year from all accounts. I certainly would have stuck with him, and I'm a bit confused as to why he's not skippering this year. Hopefully that changes next year and they can reverse those roles and get him back at the pointy end, because he's obviously got some ability and does well in that role. Good pennant skipper player too. Alright, so that wraps it up for me. It's been a lot of fun doing the Australian Open wrap every night for the 2 weeks. Next year I'll be there, so I'm not sure how we'll go about doing it next year, so keep your eyes open for that. Going forward, Send me any ideas, suggestions you might have for the stream, whether I do live streams like this or continue to do the videos once a week or so. It's a bit quiet in the off season, not much to talk about. If I hear about some carnivals, if we get some results, then I'll jump on. But for the next couple of months, maybe I have a special project that I'll be starting to release some videos for in the next 2 months. But then we'll kick off more regular programming during the season, probably in September, when the Mount Lawley events, and we've got a few spring carnivals there in September as well. So until then, thank you all once again for tuning in. I've had a few people watching live and quite a few watching the replays, so it's most appreciated. Thank you all for your positive comments, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye for now.